How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have a special guest with us. She can say her name, what she does, and all that jazz.
Hi everyone, big thank you to Audio Addiction for having me here today. I'm so excited. So my name is Emily Hope. I'm a teen singer-songwriter from Connecticut. And I sing, I write songs. I love performing live. I play at local farmers markets. You might have seen me there. So yeah.
There we go. So first question, Emily, I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but how did you start out, doing the singing, songwriting? Was that something that maybe your family has done and you're just like, I need to be musical, I need to do it that way? Or was it something that you maybe stumbled across like in school, or just some like hobby that you wind up enjoying and you're like, what if I just like did singing? That would be very cool.
Yeah, I would say it's kind of a mix of both. Music has been a part of my life ever since I was basically born.
Okay.
My mom is a piano teacher. She started teaching me piano in kindergarten, so that's kind of the beginning of the music for me. But I always sang. I would always, be on my bed as a little girl, and then I was Hannah Montana or whatever. So it's always been kind of something I wanted to do. But I think a lot of little kids say, I want to be a singer. I want to be a singer. For me, I started taking it more seriously when I got into high school. So I'm going to be a senior in the fall at Glastonbury High School. So I think when I was a freshman, I started saying, all right, so I've always said I wanted to be a singer. I think I have to do something to make that happen, because I knew I was really, really serious about it. This is my passion. I want to do this as a career. This is what I want to do. And I knew that. So when I was in middle school, I started writing a few songs. And then, I was like, these songs are pretty good. What would happen if I recorded them? So I went over to my studio. I use Newington Music. They're great. Shout out to them. I went there and I recorded my first EP. It was called Hold On. It had 5 songs. And those were basically the first 5, full, the first decent songs that I wrote. And I released them. And I realized that I just loved releasing my music to the world. I had an Instagram and a YouTube channel before that where I would always post covers. But yeah, I realized I was like, I can really do something with these songs that I write. I think it kind of comes naturally to me, and I really enjoy it. So from there, I started booking gigs,
Yeah.
I started reaching.
There you go. And I guess, did you ever have a thought of like, obviously singer and songwriters, I mostly are solo. When did you have a thought of like, ooh, I like want to have a band, like I maybe want to do the band thing? Or was it always like, I want to be like a singer-songwriter, I want to have like my own kind of like, stance on it and have my own like ability to write on my own, as opposed to maybe like with a group? Because you figure with groups it gets spread out, like you have multiple members, like maybe something that you want to kind of strike on might be something that somebody else might not be interested in, or there's a lot more heads involved. So do you find that things are a lot easier when it's just you? And you had mentioned your mom earlier, so do you find that that's a little bit easier since it's like familial and you're like, I like my mom obviously, so like I don't want to make her mad? So do you find that that's a little bit easier, or have you thought about maybe like having like a live band to kind of back you in the future?
Yeah, I think that I'm never opposed to having a band, but for me, I feel like I have it down. I always like to say, I always like to say I'm my one-woman band.
Sure.
When I use my loop pedal, if you think of Ed Sheeran, that's what he does live. So I have my loop pedal. I get like my little drum out. I do all this stuff. I kind of make a more full sound live with my loop pedal. So I always joke, I'm my one-woman band. For this upcoming EP, I kept pulling things out of my bag. I was like, all right, now I got to do the tambourine. Now I got to do the drums. And then, so I do everything myself. And I think that I'm definitely never opposed. I do love working with people. I love doing collabs. But at the moment, I just like to say, it's just me here. It's all me. I write the songs. Sometimes I don't even play my songs for my mom. She'll be like, I've never heard this song before that you're going to record. What is it? I'm like, I got it, Mom.
That's
I love doing it by myself. Yeah.
awesome. Well, that's good to know. Hopefully, obviously the door's always open, I'm sure, for having new members and stuff. But I have to speak about, you wrote an EP, as you had mentioned, like, how was that feeling of like being able to have something like written down and like, being able to kind of speak your piece on, whatever topics that it may be. Like, how does that feel as like a singer songwriter? It obviously must feel empowering having like your music out and like being able to like talk about something and have a platform to speak about it on. And how was it received like amongst your friends, fans, things of that nature? I'm always very curious on that end because I haven't released any of my own material. I plan on releasing some, in the foreseeable future, but I'm always curious how people kind of, receive those sorts of things. I'm sure it's pretty positive, I would assume.
Yeah, yeah. It was really an amazing experience doing it for the first time. When I was in my first year of high school, I released my first EP. Hold on, it was kind of crazy. It came out, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like I could go on iTunes and search myself up. Weird. And my friends too. Like I remember one time I was in choir because I do choir at school. I love choir. And this girl in the middle of the class, she's like, says to our choir teacher, she's like, "Emily has an EP iTunes and stuff," and I was laughing so hard. But it's just so crazy. I feel so blessed. I feel so grateful that I have the means to release my music, and I have people who will listen to it. Yeah, my friends, my family, and some fans that I have on Instagram. I'm so grateful for them because it's been so positively received.
That's awesome. Well, hopefully more positivity along your way. That's, like I said, that's nerve wracking to me in a sense because it's just like my stuff's out there. People are going to read my lyrics. People are going to, know how I play, all that sort of stuff. So in a way, it kind of freaks me out, but also at the same time, I'm sure it's very vindicating. But obviously, another very important question, Emily. Who are you influenced by? Who are some of the people that kind of got you started into music? I would assume your mom is probably one of your influences, but also like who musically, in the past inspired you, and obviously who inspires you currently.
Yeah, with the sound of my music, if you listen to my music, a lot of people tell me that I sound like Sarah Bareilles and Ingrid Michaelson, which I take that as such an honor. I love Ingrid Michaelson so much. I saw her in concert. I actually met her. She is so amazing. She was so
That's
sweet.
awesome.
So she's a big influence with the kind of like indie kind of acoustic kind of sound of my music. Same with Sarah Bareilles. I love her so much. She's amazing. So those are two of my influences. In terms of songwriting, I've always been a big Taylor Swift fan. She just, yeah, just the way that she writes is so descriptive and so vivid. So I always strive to kind of take some influence from her as well.
There we go. I know. Shout outs to Ryan of Waiting for London. He
Yeah.
was he was the one who recommended me to you, and he had sent over a track. And I was just like, he's like, I know this might not be in your wheelhouse, like, and I'm just like, nah, Ryan, everything's in my wheelhouse. I'll take anybody from like country music to like rap to whatever in between. And I felt like it was a good challenge for me to kind of listen to something different. And I would totally agree. Ingrid Michaelson, Sarah Bareilles, those are types of artists that I would probably associate, and people watching this that I would associate, your music with. So I feel like that's a good representation. I'd also like to say Taylor Swift as well. I feel like that's kind of like an obvious. I feel like most females have a sort of akin to Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Again, I hope that's not a diss at all, but I feel like it is in that respect. So for me personally, I was very stoked to hear those sorts of influences and vibes and stuff like that.
Thank you.
But the next question, Emily, for those people who are checking this out and are new, to your music, new to you and stuff like that, what would be one song you would recommend to them to listen to, whether it be like, a past song that you've released or like maybe one coming up that you might be excited to share with people?
Yeah. I would say that a song that I would say to check out is Defenseless. I'm so excited. This song is a song, I think that might be the one that you listen to.
Yes.
This is one of the songs on my new 3-track EP, Letters to Myself, that's coming out September 5th, 2020. Yeah, so I think that might be my favorite song that I've ever recorded and released. I'm really, really stoked about it. This is the one I was talking about where I kept pulling all these like percussion instruments out of my bag. I'm like, and then he's like, "Are you done recording?" And I'm like, "No. Are you done now?" And I'm like, "No, I gotta do the tambourine." So it's a really cool song. I'm really proud of the lyrics. I wrote it I think a year and a half ago. I actually wrote it for a Valentine cabaret I was singing out. So it's a little bit romantic, it's kind of a very cutesy song. I'm really, really proud of it. It's kind of unique. So I would say that's a good one to get a feel for my style.
I would 100% agree with that. That was one that I was like, I think he had sent me over only one. So hopefully, Ryan, if you watch this, you'll send it at this point. You'll send it to me, hopefully. But yeah, that was the first one I listened to, and I was just like, this is like, at least for my opinion, I feel like it was mature for your age, because like, that also makes me sound super old, as like an old fart. But I
Yeah.
feel like in that respect, it's like, it's very like, it does have that, as we were mentioning earlier, has that like Sarah Bareilles, Ingrid Michaels sort of sound. But I felt like lyrically it was very like, it was very, it had some depth to it, which I was not, which I was personally surprised with, because I was just like, sometimes when I have like artists on, I'm like unsure, not because they're just young. I feel like, you have maturity, you have growth, obviously. But I think for me, as like a listener and trying to like, pick out little things, I was just like, wow, this is very like very solid for, your age, obviously. And just like, I'm excited to see future material, because I feel like the base already is really good, so the growth
Yeah.
can only be better.
Yeah. Thank you.
But keeping it more current, Emily, who have you been listening to lately? What are the types of artists you're listening to on Spotify more currently?
Oh, definitely the new Taylor Swift album. Yeah, Folklore. It
Yes,
was so cool because I've always really admired Taylor Swift as an influence, but her music has never really been something that like this. She's always been either a pop or country style, and that wasn't ever like a kind of a sound that I wanted to really emulate. It was
sure.
more her style. But with this new album, I'm like, this is kind of like what I'm going for. This kind of like indie kind of sound, and I think it's so cool. It's so unique, and I love how she dropped it as like a surprise release. And I just think like each song, it just made me want to like close my eyes and lay down and really picture all these stories she was telling, because it's so, the imagery is amazing. So I'm really amazed at that. What else am I listening to? Let's see. I love musical theater, so I always listen to my musical theater soundtracks. I always do that. And lately, I'm really into this actual Latin American artist. Her name is Teeny.
Okay.
Um, I love her music. She has some good songs. Some of them are in Spanish, but I just love. I don't know why. I just really love her music. I think it's so good. So yeah, I would recommend those.
There we go. I'll have to. I feel like a lot of people that I've had on recently have been recommending the new Taylor Swift, and ironically enough, they're all from like a majority of like heavier music. So I'm very surprised that I feel like heavy people get a bad rap. We're all very emotional, just like you guys. So I feel like that one's very good. Do you have like Taylor's a song off folklore that you would recommend? Not only myself, but maybe other people to listen to that you
Yeah,
liked a lot.
yeah. I would say if you're gonna listen to two songs, I would say first, "The Last Great American Dynasty."
Okay.
It's really an amazing song. It's written about her Rhode Island house. It's a really cool story. And then the second would definitely be "Exile," which
Ooh,
is
okay.
Bon Iver, I think is how you say his
You're
name. But he has
correct. Yeah.
a really awesome, deep voice, and it sounds. It was a really amazing collab. That song is awesome. Yeah.
There we go. Love some Bon Iver, so I have to go give that one a listen for sure.
Yeah, really great. I had it on repeat for like a day. Yeah.
There we go. Well, next question, Emily. You kind of alluded to it a little earlier, so I'm curious how you're going to answer it. But if you could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Can it be one I've already covered?
I feel like to make it more interesting and, obviously a part of the
Yep.
interview, I'm putting you on the spot. So if you
Okay.
could add a
Okay.
new one to the list, what would it be?
Okay. Okay. Let me try to think here. Oh my gosh. All right. This is gonna be one that I've kind of played around with a little, but I haven't posted. Does that count?
Yes, let's do it.
I haven't posted this one. But I've like played around with this one. It's "Home Sweet Home" by Motley Crue.
Ooh,
So it's
interesting.
like, I love doing those kinds of songs that really surprise people, and they'll be like, "Why is this like 17 girl playing this song?" And they're like, "How is this?" And I say I'm gonna do that song, I'm like, "How is this gonna sound?" But I make it into my own style, and that's my favorite kinds of covers to do. So that's one of those ones that I think is kind of unexpected, and I make it sound cool.
I'm excited for that one. I'm an old school. I love classic rock, so I feel like this one is in my wheelhouse personally. So I'm very stoked to check it out. Definitely a great choice. And guys, if you're watching this and you like Emily's music and content, definitely let her know in the comments what song she should cover next. Obviously, after the Motley Crue track, and she'll have some ideas for her next cover after that.
I request, so yes.
There we go. Next question, Emily. Another fun one as well. Favorite food to eat? What's the go-to?
All right. Can this be like a dessert food?
Yeah, any food.
Okay. Okay.
Food as a category.
All right. I'm gonna say fresh baked chocolate chip cookies. This is something that during quarantine we've kept a package of that like pre-made, pre-cut dough that you just pop in the oven.
Yeah, yeah,
Kind of cheating, but it's awesome because if I'm like, I want some cookies, I just pop two in the oven, and it's yeah, it's really great. Yeah.
There we go. That's the quarantine vibes, is having, those pre-baked cookies on deck. So
Yes.
I understand that feeling. Next question, Emily, another fun one. Obviously you do some singing, and I'm sure you play a plethora of other instruments, but if there is another one you could master, what would it be?
Oh, trying to think here. Trying to think. I don't know. This is really like random, but I've always wanted to like play the accordion. I feel like it's so cool and like so like unique.
Yeah.
And it's kind of surprising. I don't know how to play the ukulele, even though I play the guitar, which I think
Wow.
is weird. I think it's kind of weird. So that's one of the things that I'm surprised that I didn't even pick that up during quarantine. I'm surprised I'm ukulele, like, because I know I can learn it kind of quickly. I just never got around to it. And people are like, "You don't play the ukulele?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." So that's another one too.
There we go. I can also attest to that. I would, if you pick up a ukulele, you'll be able to play it, because I also play guitar. So and I also have a ukulele here. So I totally can recommend playing that. Super easy. The transfer of like knowledge from guitar to ukulele is pretty simple. So I would recommend it if you have.
Okay.
Obviously, we have a lot more time in quarantine, so maybe next time.
Yeah, right.
There we go. Next question, Emily. Another fun one. If there was one album that you wish that you wrote, like if you could take credit for any record, what would it be?
Wow, that's really hard. I'm gonna say I've been talking about this album so much. I'm gonna say "Folklore" by Taylor Swift. Like,
Ooh,
I'm
okay.
like from like a pop artist. I just think it's one of the most well written albums. Like, I mean, it just has such meaning, but it's also like it just like she's a mainstream artist, but I feel like you don't find that depth of songwriting from many like more
Yeah.
pop artists, and it's just so amazing. And sometimes I hear those songs and I'm like, why did I think of this? Yeah,
I feel like that's what everybody with Taylor Swift, they're just like, you know what,
yeah.
I could have thought of this one.
And I've always thought that, but especially with Folklore, it's just so impressive. Yeah.
There we go. Next question. This might be a divisive one, so I'm curious how you're going to answer it. Do you have any guilty pleasure bands that people wouldn't necessarily associate you listening to, but you're like, you know what, I stand with this band?
Okay. All right. Let me think. I would say it's those more like those like 80s songs, like Motley Crue. Like people are like, how do you know this song? Like I love to kind of find those like really random, like obscure songs. And it's weird, like my playlist is such a mess. Like people recommend me these really random songs, and they'll be in there with all my like Taylor Swift and like my Sarah Bareilles and all of these really like such random songs that are totally out of place, like that one that I listen to. So yeah.
Do you have any more, other than Motley Crue, do you have any other bands that
I
people would
can't
be surprised with?
I can't think of like specific bands, but there are just these random songs that I have in my playlist, and it's like they don't fit at all. But, and I can't think of any at the top of my head, but yeah.
There we go. Well, if Emily comes up with more, I'm sure she'll shoot me an email and let me know which weird songs, and post Brandon will be on the case right now.
Yeah.
But the next question, Emily, obviously all about the music stuff here. If you were to compile a dream tour lineup, who would be on it?
Ooh. For like different artists for kind of like a festival kind of thing.
I feel like if it was the Emily Festival, what
Okay.
bands would you have on there?
Okay. All right. First of all, Emily Hope. I would definitely want Ingrid Michaelson. I admire her so much. She is so amazing. I love her older stuff. She comes out with some more pop stuff now, but her older stuff. I would need her to play her older stuff.
Okay. Okay.
Then it would probably be Ed Sheeran. I saw him
Oh,
live.
okay.
Yeah, I saw him at Gillette Stadium, and he is literally, it's just him with his guitar and his loop pedal. And this is like Gillette Stadium, and
Yeah.
he's so like this giant arena, And I just like, and he still like captures everybody's attention. He is like, so yeah, that's he's just so amazing. So that would definitely do. And if I could get Taylor Swift, you probably predicted I was gonna say her. Yeah.
There we go. That's a solid lineup. You guys can buy tickets for it in 2024 because we all know 2020 is canceled. And I'd
Yep.
figure I'd give Emily a 3 year head start. Already promoting it already. Guys, get ready. It's gonna be a sick world tour. Can't announce dates yet. I'm contractually obligated to not say anything other than that there is a thing that exists and that's there, and then we put it out in the universe, and it could possibly happen. Who knows?
There we go.
Next question, Emily. Obviously, you put out a sick dream tour, but in your opinion, who puts on a great live performance in terms of the artists that you've seen?
That I've seen. Oh, okay. Well, I should say that my first concert was Miley Cyrus. I
Very
would
interesting.
on Miley Cyrus. That's just a very random tidbit. I would not say that she was the best I've seen. That was the first person I ever saw in concert, and it was. I think that my parents thought they were taking me to a Hannah Montana concert, and it just wasn't. So
Fair
that was fun.
enough.
But I would say Ed Sheeran. Again, he was so amazing. But I also saw Demi Lovato a few years back, and I must say that her vocals, like, I think I kind of thought, like, I don't know how good her vocals would be live, but they were good. They were very, very impressive. And yeah, she had some really like quiet moments that were really moving, and then some moments that really got everyone up and dancing, and that was really amazing. So those two.
I'm a big Demi fan, so I feel like most people would not know that or would associate me liking Demi Lovato as much as I do,
Yeah,
but I'm a Demi stan, so I love Demi. So
yeah.
whenever somebody else has referenced them, you know, my heart gets happy.
I remember Christina Perri opened for her too, and she was also really amazing. She did like Jar of Hearts and all that. So
Ooh, she's also really good too.
yeah.
Her brother, I found out about her actually through her brother, because her brother plays guitar and is also like really talented. He
Oh,
does like more
yeah.
like rock music.
Yeah.
But that's how I found out about Christina Perri. She's also really good. Check her out.
Yeah.
Next question, Emily. Another fun one. Favorite TV show, favorite movie?
Oh, okay. Favorite TV show? I'm watching The Good Place right now on
Ooh,
Netflix. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's been like my new series that I picked up during quarantine. I watch it like every night, and yeah, it's like it took like a turn. Like the second season took this turn that I did not see coming. It was. I'm not gonna spoil it, but yeah, there's some real major plot twists. It's a really interesting, very like captivating show. Favorite movie always The Wizard of Oz. Um, yeah, if you know me, you know
classic.
I love rainbows. I have my single, The Other Side of the Rainbow, which has all these little Wizard of Oz references in it. Yeah, I got my rainbow necklace on right now. Yeah, rainbows. Yeah, so The Wizard of Oz has always been such a big part of my life, and I love it. I think that Judy Garland is an icon. I love her. Yeah, I've always loved that movie. It's a classic. So.
There we go. Great choices. Next question, Emily. If you were trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one record you could bring with you, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. Okay, I'm gonna say. Oh my gosh, that's so hard. I don't want to pick just one.
It's
My music.
I feel like it's a month, so like if I just said like of all time, I could understand you hating me for that, but I feel like a month's like it's 30 days. You could rock it. I feel like you could.
I could do it. I think I could do it. I would take Sarah Bareilles. I would take her album. I forget what it's called, but it has Love Song on it, and I'm having a mental now that I forget what it's called, but that's a really good album. I really like it.
Post
That's
Brandon's on it, so we'll
yeah.
flash the album art right now. You know
I
the
forget
Sarah Bareilles
what
record.
is it called? I don't know.
I'll look it up now. Actually, we'll do the phone the friend right now,
Okay.
and I will
I'm
look
looking
at
at
it.
my song right now, and I don't remember what it's called. But I
Oh
really
man, Sarah Bareilles.
it has that one, and it has "Bottle It Up" on it, which is a good song.
Uh, let's see. We're looking. We're scrolling.
Yeah.
We're
But I chose that
scrolling.
because, like her music is very like to me it kind of fits like many moods. You know, she is like a very it's very like likable. Her music is very likable. I feel like I could deal with that for 30 days.
Oh, 100%. I
Yeah.
think like she's just a great artist in general. So is it Little Voice?
Yes, that one.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, we did
Yeah,
that one.
it is Little Voice because I love songs the first song.
Oh, my head too. She's got I can picture like how she has her hair and everything.
There we go. Figured it out, guys.
Thank
All on camera. Did it
I'm
all.
crazy.
Can't let Emily roam the internet free of trolls. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
look out.
Sleep tonight knowing the name of the album because it was bothering me.
It's all right. There we go, Emily. And then the last thing, the reason you're on here, tell them about the EP. Like, what are some of the lyrical topics that you cover? Like, sonically, do you feel like you've progressed since the EP that you wrote when you were a freshman and in high school? Do you give people kind of a backstory, because I'm curious a little bit too, in terms of listening. And Ryan, again, I know you'll be watching this, or I'll email you about it, so I'm sure we'll get something going. But I'm curious, what's kind of the backstory and the thought process behind the new EP that's coming out next month.
Yeah, so the EP is coming out September 5th. It's called Letters to Myself. And I chose that title because I kind of think that it goes with the song. I actually have a song, Letters to Myself, that I wrote, but I didn't release it on this album. It wasn't that great, but I liked the title. The title worked, so I stole it for the EP. I chose that because I think that that's kind of what these songs are to me. They're kind of like letters to myself. There's this one song. It's called "In My Castle." It's really soft, very calming. Like, I think that you could definitely fall asleep to this song, like in a good way, in a way that it's soothing, not in a way that it's boring. It's not boring. So it's in my castle, and it's kind of about my happy place. It's all kind of a metaphor for this castle. The castle represents kind of like my happy place where I don't have to worry. And I think especially in these times, I kind of needed that happy place. And for me, a lot of times that happy place is music.
Yeah.
So, and I think that I want each person to listen to that song in my castle and think, they can connect it to whatever their castle is. My castle is music. That's my escape. That's where I feel happy. I think that and I say the title "Letters to Myself" because I feel like it's kind of that song that I think of when I'm feeling a little down, and I'm like, I just kind of think of that song, and I kind of hope that's what maybe some of my fans will do, when people listen to this song. So that's that one. Very calming. It's got some really, really beautiful harmonies. I'm so proud. I did each of them myself. I arranged them. I had my staff paper out and everything. It was awesome. Yeah. And then there's Defenseless, like I talk about. It's just a really cute song. That's how I would describe it. It's a little bit romantic. It's kind of talking about how, just kind of letting go and just realizing, I have no control over how I feel right now, but that's okay. It's kind of fun. That's why it's called Defenseless. That's an awesome song, and it's the most upbeat of the three. I have 3 songs on it. Yeah, it's really upbeat. It's really fun. Hopefully it'll maybe get you dancing a little. It's when I play it live, hopefully. Then the last one is called "I Can," and I think it's the last song on the album. I think it kind of sums up everything. It has this theme about kind of accepting what emotions that we are feeling, and kind of accepting what we can't control, and kind of being happy with what we can control, which I think I wrote it during quarantine. I think it's something that's really appropriate, because I think during this time we all kind of realize how much we can't control. And there were times when I was feeling so out of control, and I wrote this song kind of as a way to kind of calm myself down and say, well, what can I control? And it has all these lyrics like, I can sing, I can dance, I can laugh with my friends, whatever. It sounds stupid when I say it, but it'll sound better but yeah, so it kind of focuses on that. I think the whole album has a theme of just optimism, accepting how I feel, accepting who I am, and yeah.
That's that's honestly what I felt from not just the one track that Ryan had sent to me. I was like, you feel these sorts of emotions about especially what's was going on lately in terms of quarantine and stuff. And, I think it was a really cool song to listen to, especially when I was listening to it, because I feel like sometimes I have those days where I'm feeling great, and there's some days where I'm just like, what, today isn't that great of a day, but we're gonna do it. And when Ryan had sent it over to me, I was like, I didn't want to admit it at the time, but I was like, wow, this is a really great song. And I was like, I don't know Emily, but I was like, it was really great songwriting. It felt like there was this level of optimism that I felt about just that material itself, and how I assume that the optimism kind of carries on through the EP. So I was very stoked on it. Again, I'm excited to listen to the other 2 tracks to kind of give a fuller picture of it, but very excited about it. I'm sure all of your fans and new people checking this out are excited to listen to it. But I have to end it off with this. Emily, tell the people where most importantly they can find you at on social media, where they can check your music out when the record drops on September 5th, and anything you got coming up, soon ish.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, so my main social media is my Instagram. That's where I post the most. It's at Emily Hope Musician. At Emily Hope Musician. That's my username. I post lots of stuff there. Yeah, I do weekly live streams, or almost every week, usually Sunday nights. I have these themes that I do. I do Disney themed live stream concerts. I do, musical theater. I'm going to do an 80s one, so stay tuned for that. I might do
Woo!
um, I did CT local, so I played some songs by my friends here in Connecticut. Yeah, so I love doing those themed live streams, so follow me on Instagram for that. But I do also do them on my Facebook. My Facebook is also at Emily Hope Musician. That's my Facebook page. And then you can see my website, emilyhopemusician.com. I have like a little news section there where you can also find updates, and I'll post the link to the EP on September 5th when it comes out, so you can find that there. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, you can follow my musical journey on all those places. I post some fun stuff, so I hope you'll check it out.
There we go. Well, I want to give a huge shout out to Ryan. I know we've been talking about him a lot, but he deserves a lot of love. I know he works really
Yeah.
hard with his band, as well as doing PR for a lot of other bands in the scene, up there in the Northeast. So I gotta give him some love. But go check out Emily's stuff. I know it's a little bit different from what I typically have on the channel, but full support as per usual, because I feel like for myself, like, as much as it's interesting to take the journey of getting into more like pop and indie and more like singer songwriter sort of stuff, I think gives me a broader perspective on like music itself. And I think Emily is a great up and coming female singer songwriter, so you should go check out all of her stuff. All of the links will be in the description, where you can find out about her on social media. Make sure to give her a follow. Make sure to go check out the record when it comes out on September 5th. I'm sure she also has a Spotify, so go follow her on Spotify, so when the album drops, you're going to go check it out. You're going to go give it a listen. And if you enjoyed this interview, share it, like it, subscribe. It goes a long way. And thanks, of course, to Emily for coming on and chatting today.
Thank you guys so much.